7 or Comuna 7. We are in Buenos Aires, first legal mask outdoors unmasked day. So far, compliance is still 99%, and everybody is still wearing the mask, maybe because they are going to work. So they keep the mask was here implementing in May 2020. So people here is quite neighborhood, but I'm going to move to the districts, and we are broadcasting not too much people today, but I would say that compliance is 99%. So we have Bitcoin around 1,000, close to the record highs, 64,800. So Bitcoin is retesting its highs. Crude oil went up back to 83 and was going down a bit. And we have gold, which is around 70, 80. It looks bullish heading to 1800. So gold is still quite bullish in the short term. And we have this aggressive, I will say that I'm seeing a bit more of unmasked people here, a bit more, but compliance is maybe 90%, 95% tops. It's like a regular day. The people are still wearing the mask. We have more other things to tell you. That it looks like the markets are quiet now after the scare. They got scared with the China Evergrande mess. The market quickly recovered, but the level of volatility is still lower in these days. So it's like the big guys and the big fishes are trying to say that crypto is the way. I'm not quite sure. This could be a trap. I still see lots of people wearing masks. But they started to show us some brave people now. So I see now a couple there not wearing a mask. It's quite rare. I'm going to the most crowded areas of this neighborhood, which is for those who are arriving now. The real thing is that we have a recovery in commodities, but it has not been shown in the precious metal market. Quite literally, we have a rebound. Silver went below 24, and made it at the stop in 22. So the case for silver is quite destroyed this year because it broke its support in 24 and it quickly recovered, but it's like it was really denying the possibility of being considered a hedge against inflation. So we are starting to see people. For me, it's like ordinary day here because the level of compliance is quite high. I bet these guys work for a big pharma. Those guys who pass with suits, they work for a big pharma corporation, which is in this neighborhood, so we can smell them. They always wearing suits, and the only guys wearing suits. So we have extreme compliance here. The people who take all the public transportation, they are forced to maintain the mask in closed indoors. Are also masked. They have to be masked indoors. They have to keep wearing the mask for public transportation. So outdoors, I could say that it's like a normal day. Maybe we went from 100% to maybe 95%, 98%. 99, I would say that 99, this mask, outdoors mask was outdoor mask law was implemented in May of 2020. So the level of maybe the people is quite cheap. You could say that because the government is saying don't wear a mask, and the people still wearing a mask 1 year and a half later. Some people here, as you see, they are still wearing masks because they are using the bus, they're taking the bus, they have to wear the mask for public transportation. So we don't see anymore. So what's the case for inflation? Inflation is there, and it's destroying pension funds in the United States, Europe, and we have here in Argentina 40, 45, 50% level of inflation. Next year, all the market's expecting a 40% inflation again. So people have a strong cover. They're protected by the government, and they have adjusted mandatory adjustment of their salaries, protected by the unions. But the truth is that inflation is still going up, and there are quite pressure in inflation here, and the people is getting tired of inflation. And you imagine that in the United States we have 2, 3, 4% inflation. Here is 10 times higher the level of inflation, 10 times higher. So we have to be quite fast the movement. So some guy wearing no mask. So if you study, you have seen China this year have a strong appreciation of the Chinese yuan from May. So it was a good year for the Chinese yuan this year, 2021. We have a weakness in the Japanese yen lately. And we also watched that those commodities that suffered a lot in 2020, like coffee, this year they were the greatest winners. Silver was a great loser. I just arrived into the most crowded areas, but not too much people to show you. But I would say that the level of complaint, because there's people moving back to the offices and they keep wearing the mask because it's just there, they forget about it. So I would say the first day, 95% still wearing a mask so far. The markets are giving the signal that we should be all in crypto if we want to get a hedge against inflation. So the trick is that Americans will buy TIPS, these inflation-adjusted bonds. The trick in Argentina was that the government took over and changed the inflation statistics, so it was quite a mess for the accountants. So the official number of inflation was much lower. This was we have capital controls here for a long time, so you can buy US dollars no more than 200 US dollars per month, and you have to do different things to access the official market to buy more than 200 US dollars. So people in Argentina here use Bitcoin a lot to transfer money overseas. It's very popular here. Using crypto, I would say that all the people who is investing money here know about Bitcoin. They know The ordinary people still don't understand it, so I believe if Bitcoin manages to break its highs, I think we are going to see the next target, because if you check if you do YouTube search, you will check that I made a broadcast, which was Big Fishes Bitcoin Algo Manifest 57K, and that day we broadcasted that Bitcoin was going to 57K back in January of this year, and that's exactly what happened. And now we are back to these levels, and we're a bit higher than that. So we are about to break the resistance. If that happens, I'm not discarding that this could be a bullish trap. I'm not discarding that. If we continue to pressure higher, we will see 85,000 for Bitcoin if it keeps going higher. If it doesn't happen, if Bitcoin has been stable for the last 12 hours around this level, we keep seeing that. We keep seeing Bitcoin going higher. The next level for me is 85,000 for Bitcoin. I'm very cautious because this could be a bullish trap. I don't know. So for those interested in the mass compliance, and here in should be the most crowded, but today is extremely quiet. Level of compliance still about, it's like a normal day. People keeps wearing masks after 1 year and 6 months and 8 months. So I'm quite disappointed with people not still wearing a mask. Quite disappointed, because I believe that it was a good opportunity to go back to normal, and they are not taking that. My first theory is that people wear a mask because they are going to work and they forget about it, like ordinary sheep. So this market recap, I've been struggling with some things, but I will make always live updates, or I will try to publish every Friday. So this is an opportunity to see that people will follow the patterns over and over again, and they will keep following, even if they are told false by TV, by the government. They will follow orders, and they will take the orders. So the power of TV and the social media is quite impressive. For me, I'm still shocked. I was expecting maybe a 70% compliance, not a 99 like a normal day. Not a 99. And if you check CNBC now, CNBC, the homepage, go to cnbc.com. The first news there is UK infection is so high, they are recommending new quarantines in UK. So you have it in this city, Buenos Aires. We have UK, where they are highly vaccinated population, and doctors are calling for new lockdowns and quarantines again. And see here, and mask delay. So yes, for the record, Buenos Aires, it's like a normal day in this here on the streets, like a normal quarantine day. So I'm a bit disappointed, I would say that. One more thing I have to tell you, because this was supposed to be a short video update, and so I'm going to cut the live transmission a few moments. But I will keep publishing more algo trading, financial news, relevant news, precious metals, crypto, commodities. That will be the target. If you believe I should focus on other things, I will talk about inflation, because people need help how to manage, how to handle inflation. We are all used to manage or handle inflation here 10 times higher than the levels of Europe and the United States. So I will give you updates about that. I know you want to know that. I'm sharing you the keys to understand that. It's like the markets are calling for Bitcoin. Bitcoin could be, if it keeps pushing higher, the true solution, because it won't be. The United States have, according to some global economists, the level of inflation in the United States was also manipulated by the Clinton administration with the hedonist technique. They added luxury items to lower the level of inflation there in the United States. There are some comments about very weird statistics about gold and gold export and imports in China, between China and Hong Kong. If you check the statistics of gold export from China and the gold imports from Hong Kong, they don't match. So we have some very, very wrong information in the official government data of the world. So we really have to be very, very concerned and very cautious how we measure inflation in your country and what investment vehicles we'll be using to protect yourself against inflation. So now, with inflation, you will own nothing, and you won't even know it. We don't even know about it, because if the government keeps lying, it keeps lying you about the level of inflation, you will get strong and you will know nothing about it. That's the most important thing. So I will tell you, I remember Argentina government had a very, very messy problem with inflation statistics. It was a mess there. They fired a lot of technicians there. And United States people will go and buy TIPS bonds, inflation-adjusted bonds. What happens if the government lies even stronger with the level of inflation there? You will get destroyed. So people is taking Bitcoin because there is no government behind it. But Bitcoin has to pass that level. Otherwise, it could be a bullish trend. I don't know. I don't think so, but it could be. So we have $1,000 ahead. Silver. The case of silver finally to close for all the silverback community. Either silver is one of the most hated commodities now. So 22, 23 level, 24 are a good entry point, because inflation will keep going higher. But silver should not be your main vehicle to hedge against inflation. Why? Because when the inflation keeps going higher, they will demand action. Macron did that. Macron ordered to sell the European gold, and they trash gold. China also trash gold. So to contain inflation, we have gold, which is gold stored thousands of tons in the European central banks. And there is one commodity that government could sell to control inflation. Well, that's gold. So I believe that gold will not be the main hedge against inflation at all. So the max level for me is still there. You have to keep something there, but check here, people. Like a normal day, we have to keep some silver. If you can get this entry point between 22 and 24, but I don't believe that precious metal will be the best main hedge against inflation. Not at all. Charts are not even strongly bullish as I would prefer in the case of silver. So if you see there, the people, thanks brothers, thanks for being here. You see there people wearing masks at the bus stops. They are mandatory forced to use for public transportation. I will so now ending this transmission because much more fire. And thank you very much for being here.